All right, today we got another method of solving quadratics using the quadratic formula and also talking about the discriminant. At the quadratic formula, you probably know a song about this already. If you don't, I will teach it to you tomorrow. Kind of goes x equals negative b plus or minus the square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Just like that. Now it solves every single quadratic. And it doesn't just come out of the air. I'm going to show you tomorrow in class exactly where that formula comes from. And it actually comes from completing the square. All right, I'm going to show you like 3 examples here of the different types of answers you could see. Do not use the quadratic formula until you have one side equals 0. So I'm going to move that 2 to the other side, just like this. And as you start to use the quadratic formula, remember the form is this, ax squared plus bx plus c. That tells you where your a, b, and c are located. And so now it's just a matter of substituting those numbers in. So I'm going to x equals negative b, which is negative 3, plus or minus the square root of b squared, which is 9, minus 4ac all over 2a, and a is 1 this time. Now, just a matter of working all that out. Always start by working out what's inside your radical. And if you punch that in or just figure it out in your head, 9, it's negative 4 times 1 times negative 2. That's 8 plus 9, which is 17. Denominator, I get 2. And I can't simplify 17 at all. So those are actually my 2 solutions. I hope you see 2. One is this. One is 3 plus the square root of 17 over 2. The other is 3 minus the square root of 17 over 2. And those are your 2 solutions. You could estimate, round those off to a decimal, but these are the exact solutions. Let's try another one here. Again, don't start it until you move everything over. You have one side equal to 0. So I'm going to move the 12x to the other side. Make that negative 30x. Move the 9 over, make it positive 9, and I'm ready to go. One thing you may want to do before I even start this is go ahead over here on the side somewhere and work out your b squared minus 4ac. And that's actually called the discriminant, which we'll get to in a minute. And what that is, that's what goes underneath your radical. So b squared is going to be 30 squared, which is 900, minus 4 times a times c. And if you work all that out, you get 640, I think I see 4 times 100. No, you get 0, which is even better. So now when I set up my quadratic formula, I got x equals negative b, which is 30, plus or minus the square root of 0, already worked that out, all over 2a, 2 times 25. So I get 30 on the top, and there's nothing to add to the 30. And I get 50 on the bottom, which reduces down to 3/5. So sometimes you just get one real solution. Like the last problem, I got 2. This time I got 1, and that's okay. And the reason I got 1 is because of this right here. My discriminant, or the number underneath the radical, was 0. All right, one more here. Move the 5 over. Have negative x squared, which is okay to have a negative x squared, plus 4x minus 5 equals 0. And here I go again. I'm going to come to the side over here and work out my b squared minus 4ac. B squared is 16 minus 4 times negative 1 times negative 5. Be careful on your signs there. Let's see, negative 4 times negative 1 is 4 times negative 5 is negative 20. So I get 16 minus 20, which is negative 4 for my, let's call the discriminant, which we'll see in just a second. And I'm going to work it out. X equals negative b, which is negative 4, plus or minus the square root of negative 4, all over 2a, and a is negative 1. Now, first time I've had a negative inside my radical, you know what to do with that. The square root of a negative, you got to pull out the I, and also the square root of 4 is 2. So it's just going to be 2i over negative 2. And I would be done right there, except I can cancel there. The negative 2 in the denominator will cancel with both terms. Negative 2 goes into negative 4 2 times. Negative 2 goes into 2 1 time. So you get negative 2 plus or minus I. And again, that's 2 solutions. One is negative 2 plus I. Sorry, 2 plus I. And the other one is 2 minus I. So 2 solutions like we've been getting. We've gotten. So here's what's happened so far. When I got a negative number for my b squared minus 4ac, I got a complex answer or 2 imaginary answers. When it was 0 for my b squared minus 4ac, I only got 1 answer. And in the first problem I did, I got a positive number inside my radical, and I got 2 real answers. Okay, I've been trying to teach you this the whole time. This is discriminant. The discriminant is actually just b squared minus 4ac. And here's what happens. It tells you 2 things. It tells you how many solutions you're going to get, and also what type they are. So if you get a positive number, that's what this one says. If you get a positive value for your b squared minus 4ac, you're going to get 2 real answers, and the reason is because there's 2 x-intercepts. That's going to cross your parabola is going to cross your x-axis twice. If it equals 0, if the discriminant equals 0, it's going to be 1 real solution, and that's because there's only 1 x-intercept, which means your vertex is actually on the x-axis if you were to graph it. And the last case is if your discriminant is less than 0, you get 2 imaginaries, and what would happen is your parabola would be either completely above your x-axis or completely below your x-axis. No x-intercepts, which means no real solutions, because remember, x-intercepts are your solutions, and those are only 3 cases, and you've seen all 3 of those already. Okay, the last thing I'm going to have you do today is I'm going to have you just work at your discriminant only. The directions say find the discriminant and give the number and type of solutions. Didn't say solve them, just find discriminant and tell what you get. So this first one, all I'm doing is b squared minus 4ac. That's all I need to tell me what type of solutions I'm going to get. B squared is 64 minus 4. A is 1. C is 17. If you work that out, you'll get negative 4. And because it's negative, that means I'm going to get 2 imaginary solutions because it's negative. I would have a negative number inside my radical. The second one, again, b squared minus 4ac. 8 squared is 64 minus 4 times 1 times 16. If you were to punch that in, you would get 0. And because it's 0, you would get 1 real solution. And the last one, same deal, b squared minus 4ac. Be 64 minus 4 times 1 times 15, which would just be 4. And because it's positive, you will get 2 real solutions. And that's all there is today. I think you've probably seen this before. So I'll do 2 things with you tomorrow when you come in. We'll sing the song, x equals negative b plus or minus square. I'm not singing on video. That's scary. And then show you exactly where the formula came from, so you'll have an idea. Somebody didn't just make it up out of thin air. So I'll see you then.